Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to have a relaxed day of doing some coloring of some Pokemon that I already drew on this Traveler's Notebook watercolor insert. And I thought I'd just talk about some of the new and upcoming Pokemon games because I'm very excited. But I'm always excited when games come out because like right now I'd like to play something, but just there hasn't been a lot out lately that's really interests me. I'm looking forward to, in a few weeks from now, Cozy Grove is going to be released, and that game looks interesting. I'll probably pick it up. It's not too expensive, and see if it's any good. It's like an Animal Crossing kind of clone. That sounds negative. It's not. And it looks very, very, very cute. I love the art style. So I'll probably talk a little bit about that once it actually comes out. But yeah, these releases just mean that, in a year or so from now I'll have, something to look forward to, which is great. And for Legends Arceus, I actually was talking to people about how much I wanted an open world Pokemon game in the same vein of Breath of the Wild. But I mean, Breath of the Wild is such a, smash hit. I was like, this doesn't make sense for them to not do Pokemon. We already saw that they had the capability for an open world Pokemon from the wild area in the Galar region, and that was definitely my favorite part of that game. I think they just need to pump up the incentives for people to explore the wild area, because there were some in the Galar region, there were the raid battles, and there were kind of randomly scattered items, but I think you definitely need something like the Korok seeds from Breath of the Wild, something continuous for people to search for as they progress. And I think the introduction of some threats would also be good. There were some higher level Pokemon scattered throughout the wild areas, but they spawned in the same location and they're very, very easy to avoid. I think it would really increase people's heart rate if they encountered situations that were a little bit more difficult and harder to circumvent. In addition, people have been wanting non-linear gyms for a long, long time. I think this would be the perfect time to integrate that into the series. Because it is open world, it should just be, you should just be able to discover new gyms throughout the world, and they should just have like a scaling system that no matter when you encounter a gym, it could just be scaled to the level of your team or how many badges you have, something like that to keep it balanced. But I think that would really excite people. Some other things that I'm kind of looking forward to, I really hope that there aren't as many Pokemon centers and they bring back the camp system as kind of your primary way to heal your party. I think that was really in preparation for this new game in hindsight, and I think it's a great idea to have to scavenge for, berries, nuts, etc. to make meals for your Pokemon instead of just running over to the Pokemon Center. It adds a lot of like a survivalist aspect to it that I think is really interesting. And I hope they keep expanding on customization for your character. I know we've gotten a lot of clothing in the past, but even people have said, why don't we have slider bars for things like hair color or facial features, something more in depth like we get in other games. So, I don't know if they're ever going to integrate something that in depth, but I hope that they continue to do that. I think it adds a lot of fun for people, especially for people who are streaming. It allows them to have like an individual character that they can kind of associate themselves with, instead of things looking too cookie cutter. I also just really like how this game looks like in the trailer so far, and I mean this is pretty early, so it's probably going to get even more polished. Now, if you ask me for any reservations, I feel like the fact that this is also set in the Sinnoh region and is a prequel to the original games is a little interesting, especially since it's going to be released. I mean, the new Sinnoh remakes are slated for late 2021, and this is for mid-22, so I kind of wonder how that's going to affect people's reception, if people are going to be more excited to pick up on kind of like two versions and like explore the lore through both games, or if people are just going to pick one or the other that they're more interested in. So I'll definitely have my eyes peeled for how that pans out, but hopefully they're both great. I'd love to pick them both up and have some great experiences with Pokemon again. Now, as for the remakes, these are very interesting to me. So for those who don't know, The original Sinnoh region, which was Generation 4 of the Pokemon games, came out 15 years ago, back in 2006. So it's been a long time, and people have been asking for remakes of this region forever. And for a lot of people, this is their favorite of all the Pokemon games. Like, when I ask people what their favorite generation was, I usually get, 1 or 2 or 4. Like, this is really big for a lot of people. Now, for me personally, it came at a weird time in my life, so unfortunately I don't have that same sort of emotional attachment that a lot of people do. Back when these games came out, I think I was in high school, and no one around me really played Pokemon anymore, so it gave me the impression that I was getting too old for Pokemon, which is funny now because it's been years and years, and I still play Pokemon, so apparently I was not really getting too old for it. It's also funny because when I got to college again, Pokemon was just everywhere, all over again. It was cool again. And I lived with a roommate who had every single game, every single version in a pile to the ceiling, and I thought it was awesome. That's why I got back into it. But at that point, I think it was X and Y. So I had missed, Black and White 2, Black and White. I had purchased and played a little bit of Gen 4, but back then I was mostly interested in the mining and the puffin making and the contests. And when it came to the actual Pokemon gameplay, I wasn't interested anymore. I was pretty bored by it at that point. So because of that, I missed Generation 4 and Generation 5, basically. Oh, and just for the record, that friend's favorite versions were, of course, Diamond and Pearl, Generation 4. Just goes to show. And that's why I'm excited for these remakes. I do want to give it a fair shake, so I'm hoping they're very good. But people's reception so far has been a little bit mixed, which again, I find fascinating because so many people wanted this game for so long. But there are some reasons I'd like to go through. Again, it's very early in its development, and I really hope that they add in a ton of new features and really give people what they want. I really hope that happens. I think probably the biggest reason people have some sort of hesitation with this game is because it's the first mainline game ever that is not to be completed by Game Freak. They have brought on ILCA, I-L-C-A, I don't know what it stands for, to complete this project, which again, people are already worried about that. Which, doesn't mean anything really. They could do a great job, they could not. I don't know anything about them, so I don't have any indication of which side of that it would go, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. The second thing that people seem to point out a lot is the art style. And it's not so much that it's bad, but we've been kind of moving towards a less chibi style in the overworld sprites and models. And now we're kind of regressing back to the point where we're using smaller overworld models to indicate characters, and then when you enter into gameplay, into the battles, you have, larger, more realistically scaled models, and I feel like that gives people a little bit of a sense of whiplash. And again, I think we've been getting more and more used to more realistic proportions, so to take a step back seems odd to people, and I get it. I totally get it. The third thing I hear people talk a lot about is the addition of new features. I definitely think people are worried that there's not going to be any. And I think that would be a shame because this is really where they can grow upon the original and take the opportunity to add creativity and new life into the series. And even if they're just polishing up old features like the contest and the puffin making and the mining, those were all the things that I enjoyed probably the best when I first played it, to be honest, so I feel like that would go a long way. People also really want a battle frontier, and I think that would be great, as well as an expanded dex with new Pokemon. I think there have been some indications that that's not going to happen, which is unfortunate, but we'll see. I think the thing that would earn the most goodwill from me in terms of new features would be expanding shiny hunting methods. Shiny hunting has become my overall favorite part of the games, and I'll spend hours and hours and hours doing it, so I'd be disappointed if it was just Masuda method and radar chaining available in this new remake, but I mean that's probably going to be the case considering the old version. But hey, if they added more shiny hunting methods, I would be a happy camper. I do think it is important to say in relation to all the things I brought up before that those aren't really necessarily deal breakers. I don't want to come across as overly negative. I think that this will be a good game irregardless of if all of those issues are founded and do come along with the remake of the game. I think that there was definitely enough in the beginning for people to make it their favorite generation, their favorite version, so even if we get something that cuts it very, very close to that, I think there'll still be enough for people to have a fun time, and that's what's really important at the end of the day. You know, people can go back and have a nostalgic fun time with it, and also people who, you know, were too young when the games came out to have them will now be able to experience them, and I think that's always great. Now, I guess I should probably say a thing or two about this piece before it's already done. But I wanted to do some grass Pokemon that had the same or similar color scheme. Like, obviously, Oddish is actually much darker than the marker that I used on the body and the legs. But it was close enough that I could have a more coherent color scheme between all the Pokemon, so that's what I was really going for, and I think it turned out really cute. I just wanted to do something simple for this last insert because it was taking a long time to do all of them, honestly. And Pokemon are so easy to draw because they're mostly simple shapes that they were just great to do something really fast. And they always come out looking great. I always love the designs of Pokemon, so. Oh, and if you enjoyed this little illustration here and my ramblings on about the new Pokemon games, I'd really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. This is a small channel, so everybody counts around here. While I'm kind of talking to you, here my two cats, Cinnamon and Butterscotch, are sleeping on different chairs. It's super cute. They're not usually both in the same room together. Usually Butterscotch is off in the living room, so it's pretty cute. With this insert completed, we only have to decorate one more. It's not really necessary, it's just one that I found the other day. That was on super sale, so I just picked it up. I think Traveler's Notebooks are coming to an end, unfortunately. They were really popular for, I think like 2 or 3 years ago they really saw their zenith, and things have been kind of crashing lately, so that's really unfortunate. I mean, the original will stick around for a long time, hopefully, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, after that we'll finally do the setup and put it together. But with that background completed now, it's coming to a close, so I hope you liked this little picture and coloring with me. Here's just a little close-up if you wanted to see some of the details, but other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!